Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us, November 11th, 2023, and we're live every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Scott Wolmering and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans. In studio today, we've got Brad Sanford with Farmers Insurance. And we've got a great show. We're live again from 10 a.m. to 11. You can always comment on the social media stream wherever you're catching us, or 612-294-6949 is how you can join us, 612-294-6949. A lot to talk about today. You can see we got a full house. We are live at the WCCO studio. And it should be a great show. Scott, Mike, Brad, good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning, Ryan.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We've been doing the show we were trying to figure that out. I think 18 years is what we've been doing it for. So if you're just catching it for the first time, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Check us out at mnrealestateshow.com. That's how you can find out everything about the team, how it works. And then any of your questions, just type them in. We'll handle them as they come.
Yeah, a lot to talk about this week, Mike. You're always kind of the big question is mortgages, mortgage rates, what's going to happen, where are things at. So I know you got a little bit up your sleeve today, right?
Always got a little bit up my sleeve. We'll talk
you
a
have
little
no
bit more about that.
Took off his coat.
Not much to hide, and everyone kind of knows what's going on with there. But we'll talk about rates, what happened this last week, where they're at, where they're going. We'll cover all those questions that come in on that as well.
Yeah, again, we're on Newstalk 830 WCCO Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Thanks for joining us on the social media stream, wherever you're catching us, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Mike loves LinkedIn.
Love it.
Loves LinkedIn. All right, we're getting ready to go live on air. Again, thanks for joining us, everybody. 612-294-6949. Here we go.
Sure.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and thanks for joining us here Sunday morning, November the 11th, 2023. And this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We appreciate you joining us. This is a live real estate show, local. We're down at the WCCO studio every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We also stream it on all the various social media channels and welcome your questions, comments, thoughts throughout the show. You can always use the CCO talk and text line, or we have a number direct to our show as well at 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949. You can call us or text us. And again, want to welcome on everybody. Scott, Mike, good to have you guys.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there. My dad was a full colonel in the military, retired, so this is always a big day for him. So again, I want to say thank you to all the veterans for your service. And again, like Ryan said, if you're catching the show for the first time, mnrealestateshow.com is how you can check us out online. 612-294-6949 is how you can join the discussion today. Or if you are a little bit shy about going on air, just go ahead and text your question there, and we will handle it as it comes in.
Yeah, again, appreciate you joining us. It is Veterans Day. Again, a special thanks. So many of the CCO listeners, family, friends, clients, as veterans, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you do and have done for our country. A special shout out to my brother, Dan. Dan was in the Army for, I believe, 7 or 8 years. So big thanks to my oldest brother, Dan, who is also a longtime CCO listener. Mike, good morning to you there, young man.
Yeah, good morning, Ryan.
Nice to see you as always, everybody.
Always good to see you guys too. It's always fun to come down here in the studio where it all started way back in the day.
Back in the day, Mike. First segment, we do an update real estate mortgage. Tell us what's cooking in with Luminate Home Loans, and in the mortgage world.
Rate wise, we spoke last week. We had a real nice 2-week run there where rates went down, and we were down to a lot of the rates I was quoting was 7.25, 7.375. A little bit of a correction this week. They went up about 0.25%. So we're sitting closer to 7.625, maybe 7.75, depending on credit score and stuff like that. But the overall feel right now in the industry is that hopefully with what the Fed said at the last meeting, where they like where inflation is at, they don't have to raise rates at this Fed meeting. They're probably not going to raise them at the next Fed meeting. It's kind of the momentum that we needed, or it's going to be that first step to having rates actually start sliding down versus going up. So I'm expecting that we're probably going to be hanging in the 7 still, but I think we're going to have a slow drift down over the next couple months because I don't think they're going to have to do anything else with inflation. I think as long as inflation numbers are looking good moving forward, we're going to see that slow drift downwards.
Mike, you shared an interesting email with the team, the Minnesota real estate team this week, talking about kind of consumer sentiment and about whether people feel it's a good time to buy a home. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, the article said that they do a national survey, so this is nationally across East Coast to West Coast. It said nationally 85% of the people felt that it was not a good time to buy a house right now. But if you look at the East Coast and the West Coast and where their market is at, those home values have declined. San Francisco is down 10% year over year. You have some of the East Coast that's down 11 or 12% as far as home values year over year. I think we're still up, aren't we, year over year?
Yeah. We are. I think we are. I think we're up 7%. I think.
Yeah. So it's a national survey, right? So you got to take that into consideration, and then you got to take into consideration the media and how they talk about interest rates and how they compare it to like 2 years ago, where we all know that you can't compare it to the COVID years because we're never going to see interest rates that low again. But it's just, it's that psychology out there of like, what they see in the media and what they hear out there really affects people and what their idea is of, is it a good time to buy or not?
Yeah. You know what? I just lost it. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. I was just going to share too, in the first segment, we always do an update from a real estate standpoint, just to give you a snapshot of what's going on. Here in Minnesota, new homes for sale down 9%. So there were 986 new properties that came on the market. Pending sales or accepted purchase agreements this past week down 13%. So there were only 696 pending sales this past week. Again, year over year, down 13%. And then the overall inventory is still down, still historically low. Just not a lot of homes for sale out there. There are now 8,893 homes for sale. That's down 6% year over year. And even last year was a low inventory standpoint. And so again, I'm still continuing to see so many buyer need emails. Agents can't find properties for their clients, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this way. It's really, really interesting because you hear a lot of things out there right now. Obviously, everybody that refinanced at 2% to 3% or kind of holding tight. Buyers have shied away when rates went into the 8s. Of course, everything slowed down. But this was a posting that was out. I'm probably going to lose it again now for the second time because I haven't. So in 1971, the interest rate was 7.33%. So if you waited for interest rates to go down, you would have purchased a home in 1993. That was the first time it went down. You would have rented for 22 years for waiting for rates to go down. Meanwhile, the value of real estate quadrupled during that time. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate. Basically, you marry your house, you date the rate. And what they're saying by that is the same situation we're in right now. Right now with rates at 7.65 or 7.75, you would think, well, why in the world would I buy a house like that? Because rates are going to go down, then I would buy a house. Well, the problem is right now you're buying a house for what it's worth. And I would say you're probably buying a house for a little bit less. I know that it says that we're going up 7%. I personally am not feeling that out there. And I'm sure there are still little quadrants of, hey, you got a $350,000 single family home. Yes, those have gone up. But you have a $350,000 townhome. Those have gone down. You have a $500,000 single family home. Maybe you're flat. You got a $750,000 single family home. Those have gone down. And so the reason you buy now instead of waiting until next spring at low inventory rates like we have, if we get any fluctuation whatsoever into the spring market, you're going to be paying $50,000 more for the same house than you are right now. So it is a great time to buy.
612-294-6949 is how you can join us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We are live again here at WCCO at 612-294-6949 with your questions, comments, thoughts. We're going to be talking a little bit more throughout the show with Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. Again, Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans. This is WCCO. Thanks for so many folks joining us on social media. Mike, that's hard though. I mean, it's hard for people to just say, hey, buy now. Another part of the article is obviously talking about inflation and just the cost of everything. But housing is something people are going to have to pay for no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, you're either going to pay for it with your own mortgage or you're going to pay someone else's mortgage by renting. So, the good news is in the Midwest, I talked about the coast, they have come down as far as values go year over year, but we're still up, which is great, right? So we got a very stable market here. And I think that if we move forward over the next 12 months, I think we're going to be up another 3 or 4%. I don't see us going backwards.
Well, in that example is, so I just sold a townhome in Rosemount. So it's a slab on grade. For those people who don't understand what that is, that means there's no basement. So it's a slab on grade, little townhome, about 1,700 square feet. Same exact floor plan of everything else that's in there. It's an outside unit. So the beginning of last year, 2022, they were selling for $315,000. So I sold this to this woman for $275,000. So same exact unit. A year later, it's $35,000 to $40,000 less. But rates aren't 3%, they're 8%. This is what we were talking about. So she's buying this for $275,000, and yes, her payment is going to be higher. But when rates go back down, she can now refinance at 5.5%, 6%, whatever she does, and she's actually at $275,000. These other people at 3% paid $315,000 for it. Right. So they're upside down $40,000. So it's probably the most frustrating thing us as agents have is to get the word out that, my gosh, when there's blood in the water, which we have right now, and you are a buyer, it is a great, great time to get in.
Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance, one of our great partners. If you go to mnrealestateshow.com, you can see all of our great partners that are part of our team, part of our show. Brad, thanks for being here, bud.
Yeah. I'm going to take his advice. I'm going to say that you marry the agent and date the carrier, maybe.
Yeah.
I like that. That's what you do too, right?
Yeah.
Date the loan officer.
Right.
What are you seeing from an insurance standpoint? Same thing from like with everything else rising. I mean, are you seeing a set increase in premiums, that type of thing?
Yeah, premiums have really started, continued to climb. We've had 36 hard quarters of data coming out that it just, the things that are pressuring the carriers, all the losses, Minnesota being the third largest for number of claims paid out. I mean, that makes carriers try to make up for those losses.
Third largest in the U.S.
Third most. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
hail, obviously.
yeah. And continuously. Remember last year, I was telling you, we had like 200 storms. And then in the last year, we've had over 400. That difference there has really caused a problem for the carriers here. So it's,
you would think with, we can talk on our smartphones. We can do, with technology, you would think that through all the years, someone would be able to devise a shingle that does not get destroyed every time it frickin' hails.
You know what that's called?
What?
Planned obsolescence. In other words, it's kind of like saying that you think of a phone that people are never going to have to upgrade.
right.
And you do that one time, people buy it once, and then it's like versus, hey, you need the new one now. You need this feature.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm not a roofer, but
You would think somebody would be able to develop a shingle that you wouldn't have to replace.
sure.
But there's no money in this, like drugs. There's no money in the drugs. There's money in the comeback.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
No, it is. You're not going to cure cancer. You're just going to get it easier. But
Yeah.
there's money in shingles and money in
In the gun bag,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
We're going back live on air on WCCO. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. I hope your weekend is going well. A special shout out and thanks to all of our veterans, all of the CCO listeners, veterans, friends, family. Thank you for your service. And again, you're welcome to join us here at any point. 612-294-6949. We're talking a little bit about the current market conditions right now, and a lot of the issue in the Twin Cities, guys, is with that lack of inventory. So buyers, active buyers out there looking for property, so much of the national talk is about underbuilding, and that there was not enough building going on by all the different builders and developers. And now we're seeing building of all these rental complexes where people are spending $2,000, $2,500 to rent. And, for the real estate community as agents, it can be frustrating as well, because Mike, you're probably seeing a lot of those people that could potentially qualify for a home, but they're spending $2,500 in rent.
Yeah, I mean, rent's certainly not cheap
No.
by any means. And if you're looking at buying a house versus renting that same house, you're probably going to pay more for rent on that exact same house. The problem is we're trying to compare like a single family home at $350 to a 2-bedroom apartment. You can't make that comparison. It's not direct as far as rent versus buy. But yeah, I mean, everything has gone up. Rent's not cheap. You don't get much for your money these days, and you don't gain any equity either by renting. So that's the other problem.
Yeah, it is something to think about. Again, 612-294-6949. Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. We got to welcome you on there, young man. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, and happy Veterans Day.
Yeah, appreciate you always, Brad. Tell me what's cooking. What's new in the insurance world with you as it relates to real estate and just your business?
Well, normally as the economy would scale down and you guys are selling less homes, I would feel that. But because carriers have raised the rates so much, everybody's shopping right now. So it's taking calls and seeing if you can compete and getting new clients through that. So it's really been busy lately.
So you had said that the third Minnesota is the third highest as far as number of claims.
Yes, the carriers have really taken a beating in this state, and they are. So what carriers have to do is they have to get approval for rate increases. And there are very large companies that are continuing to get rate charges, and they've asked for more. So it's going to continue.
Any tips, thoughts, strategies for existing homeowners, new buyers?
Make sure you have a good agent. I think Scott said it well, marry the agent and date the carrier. So find the agent that you want to work with, and then make sure they get you the best deal.
Yeah.
Stay on top of the value of your home. That's the biggest thing. Sometimes people set it and forget it. And if the home values, because carriers don't want to be caught insuring you for less than what it would take to rebuild it, they continue to up the value of the dwelling.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, we're starting to settle a little bit more back in, but remember a couple of years ago when lumber costs and everything was through the roof, that would have been a time to definitely call your insurance agent to make sure that replacement of your house would be on par to be able to do it. Because I would gauge that the majority of people that had insurance at that time would, if they didn't have a program that actually covered the entire replacement cost, would have been screwed, because there's no way you could build the house you're in right now for the same number you got insured at.
Yeah, what's an interesting, Brad, this happened, I was talking to a client this week that purchased a home. It was a first-time home buyer, bought the property. They ended up having there was a hailstorm, and came out, took a look at the claim, and then the adjuster said because the age of the roof was older than what was disclosed to them, so it was older than what they were aware of, the depreciation expense was larger, and so they didn't cover. The insurance company didn't cover as much, and this is a first-time home buyer. She's like, I had no idea. How am I supposed to know that? How is a buyer supposed to know that? in this case, when they're insuring the property, she's upset at her agent for not properly insuring it.
Well, and I've talked to you guys many times when we talk about deals. I ask you what's the age of the roof, because that is very important, not only to get a discount, but also to have your roof replaced when you need to, because that is absolutely the case. And in this environment, carriers are finding ways to not have to pay out right now. So yeah, that would be a very difficult situation to be in.
$15,000, Mike. So it's a 15,000. Have you heard much of that in the mortgage, or do you see much of with that, with insurance claims, hail, that type of thing affecting escrow, closing, etc.?
We don't see a whole lot of that happens on the back end. I've just noticed in general, and it's not going to be any surprise, that just insurance for a $300,000 house, is gone up in cost. So when I'm running my estimates and stuff now, I plug in a higher cost for those insurance, for the insurance on those things, just because everything's been drifting up. It's gas, it's milk, it's insurance, it's across the board.
Yeah. What other thoughts, Brad? Any other tips, strategies, best practices for CCO listeners in this climate?
Well, you remember Matthew Perry recently died, right?
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah, and the make sure that you have the right personal liability on your coverage, on your policy, your homeowner's policy, and think about those types of things. If your hot tub is hooked up to your house, and that hot tub, you don't talk to your agent and tell your agent about it, any peril, any hazard that you may have that affects your home through that may not be covered. So just a little tip: when I saw that Matthew Perry died in a hot tub, I thought that's something I should be telling you guys the next time I'm on the air. So
how about swimming pools? Swimming
definitely.
pools have become such a
Saunas.
positive, where, again, from a value standpoint, a lot of people love the swimming pool now.
I love the swimming pool, and absolutely, not only is it a lot of maintenance, but it also have to make sure that you insure it properly. You have to have it fenced in. There's all kinds of different things that your agent will be able to walk you through.
Yeah, again, we're talking to Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. And again, we're here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Before the break, wanted to touch on, we've got a listing, Teresa Gage with the Minnesota Real Estate team, Remax Advantage Plus. She has one in Burnsville, 2636 Boulder Drive in Burnsville. It's priced at $399,900. It is a one-level living home. It's got vaulted ceilings, a newer furnace, AC, main floor laundry, a great gas fireplace, and it's walking distance to Sunset Lake. Be sure to check that out again. That's priced at $399,900. 2636 Boulder Drive in Burnsville. And one other listing before the break here, Mike. Steve McDonald has this. It's 8608 Oakland Avenue in Bloomington for $335,000. There's an open house today, 11 to 1. Isaac Johnson with the team is going to be holding that open. And it's a 3-bed, 2-bath Rambler. It's got a sun porch off the back of the home, a partially finished lower level, 4-car garage with additional storage, a newer driveway, roof, mechanicals, and a maintenance-free deck, fenced-in backyard. 335, 8608 Oakland Avenue. That's going to be open today from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We're already at the halfway point here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts on CCO, or you're catching us on any of the social media streams. We certainly do appreciate it. Happy Veterans Day to all. This is WCCO. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Just seems like mortgage-wise, that's the big stumbling block this year. Just for it's putting fear in a lot of the buyers' rates. Thoughts on that? What are you seeing? Activity? How to move forward?
Activity-wise, I actually thought it'd be slower activity-wise than what we're seeing, which is a good thing, right? Last fall, it was the sticker shock, right? We went from rates at 3.5% in February to 7.5% in October, right? So that 8-month stretch, right? That sticker shock was there. Last fall, you could just sense it with people. There's just a lot more uncertainty. It's like, do I buy now? Do I not buy now? Things like that. This fall is different. This fall we're in the new norm right now. We don't have that sticker shock that people have to get over. It's been like this for at least a year now. And so it's the new norm. So we're getting conditioned to be like, hey, this is normal. And I think it's taken some of the fear out of it. There's still some people that are just going to sit on the sidelines regardless.
Yeah.
From that, but it's actually a little bit. I figured it would be a little bit slower at this time of the year with interest rates where they're at, but it's a pleasant surprise that it's still somewhat busy.
Yeah.
They really shouldn't be afraid of the higher rates because after a year they can refinance down to what the lower rates go down to, right? And then you have the home that you wanted.
Right. I mean, that's what I tell everyone. Like, there's two costs of buying a house. There's the cost of the house itself, and then there's the cost of the financing to get it. So the next 3 months here, so November, December, January is going to be your best time to buy a house and get the best price on the house. If you're looking at the next 12 months, if you're going to buy in the next 12 months, I encourage you to buy in the next 3 because you're going to get the best deal on the house. You can always refinance to a lower rate down the road, but if you want the best price for the house itself, next 3 months is the time to do it.
Yeah, inventory wise too, it's just such an interesting time because there's just so many buyers out there still that can't find the property that they want. And so it's really just the housing market. I saw an article that just talked about the housing market being a bit of a mess. It's an interesting time because you've got so many buyers that can't find the property that they want. Again, you've got a lot of the sellers that are deciding not to sell, maybe because of the low interest rate. Some that are just fearful because of the current market conditions. So there's so many different variables going on with it, Brad. It's causing some uncertainty, causing a lot of uncertainty.
It really is. My daughter and her boyfriend, they did buy that house that they wanted in the early part of October. So they fought through the rates and they fought through all of that, and they ended up getting the house that they want. They're now in it. They're going to host a party. They absolutely love the place. So I think getting on the other side of the rate and all of that, I think was very beneficial. And I can see how it's difficult for everyone in this industry when there's not enough inventory. They only have so many things to sell and everybody wants access to it. And
yeah, a text message question. Mike, what are you seeing for the average down payment now on your accepted purchase agreements? Average down payment, Mike?
Question. That is a real good question. I would say average down payment's probably 10%. I would say is average. You get some people that are, selling and buying, right? So they got big equity in their house. So they're coming up big down payments, 20, 25, 30% down. You still have plenty of first time home buyers that are doing minimum down, so if you blend the two together, I would say the average, probably around 10%.
Would you recommend buying the rate down?
It depends. To be honest with you. I mean, I would be a fan of a temporary buy down.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a buyer right now, because I know how all that stuff works, I myself would do a temporary buy down, meaning that I'm going to get a reduced interest rate for the first few years of that loan, because I truly believe sometime in the next 3 years, you're refinancing to a lower rate.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't put the money towards a permanent buy down.
We're going back live on air. Hey, welcome back to the second half of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We hope you're having a great weekend, November 11th, and a special shout out and thank you to all of our veterans. Again, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Every Saturday we are here. We're a local real estate team all throughout the Twin Cities, really all throughout Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. We help people buy homes, sell homes, invest in real estate. We've got a top agent on the Minnesota Real Estate team, wherever you're listening to the show right now or catching us on social media. We do have a new feature on MN Real Estate Show where it talks about getting your home value. If you are an existing homeowner or you are looking to sell, you can click on that. It's a new tool that we have. Again, if you go to mnrealestateshow.com, it's a good spot to start, and it's a nice way for us to give back to the CCO listeners. Just curious about your home value in this market, don't hesitate to check that out. Again, MN Real Estate Show. Scott, we got a full house today.
Yeah, we do. We were talking a little bit off air. I think this is warrants a discussion. We talk a lot in this market about doing a buy down on your property and whether that makes sense. And it depends on your how adverse you are to risk. And I'll say it this way. So a buy down, let's say you're buying a $600,000 house and you're going to buy that rate from 8% down to 5.5%. And Mike's better at this than I am, but let's say that is a $25,000 cost. So now you've bought the house for 6, but you're really buying it for 625 versus do you buy the house for 6, be at 7 3/4 rate. So now your payment, let's call it, is $500 more a month than it would be if you bought the rate down. So you live in that house for 6 months and now rates drop into the 6s. Now you refinance. So if you're in there for 6 months and it costs you $500 more, so now that costs you $3,000 before you can get your rate down now to 5.5 or 6% versus upfront writing $25,000 to have it there. So you're better off, just like we said before, marry your house, date the rate.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly truth to that, right? It's like, and mortgages, I mean, trying to predict interest rates is just like gambling. It's like going to Vegas, right? You're going to be right half the time, you're going to be wrong half the time. That's just what the reality comes down to. The people that want to do a rate buy down now believe that interest rates aren't going to come down sometime in the next 2 to 3 years where they're going to refinance to a lower rate. Their fear is, I think rates are going to stay the same or go up a little bit over that time frame. So I'm just going to spend the money now, get the rate down, and then I'm covered. Some people are like, they are going to come down, and I plan on refinancing sometime in the next 2 to 3 years because I do think rates are going to get to a low enough level. Those people are not doing a buy down. Why put the money into it now if you're just going to refinance out of it down the road here in a short amount of time? So it really depends on what you believe what's going to happen with interest rates. If you think they're going to stay the same or get worse, do the rate buy down now. If you think they're going to get better where you're going to refinance in the next couple of years, don't put the money into it up front.
I had a question. Kim had texted in. Again, you're welcome to text us or call us at any point. She's asking, guys, are you seeing some contract for deeds in your market? And Kim, the short answer is we definitely are. We definitely are seeing some contract for deeds where really in all areas, all price ranges, where people are going that route, kind of the traditional route. Mike, could you give us just a short snippet? What is a contract for deed? How does it work?
Yep. Contract for deed basically is where the seller becomes the bank. So seller's like, hey, you give me 10% down. I will basically give you a loan for the rest of it at a certain interest rate. And you're making monthly payments to the seller, just like you'd be making monthly payments to a bank.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's more common. Scott, I know we were talking about it. We're seeing more. We're hearing more of that as well. An interesting time with that too.
Yeah. And my deal on contract for deeds is if you are a seller, contract for deeds are awesome. So and I've got a lot of clients that do contract for deeds for a living. So basically what a contract for deed is I'm the seller. So my house is $500,000. So you give me $100,000 up front. I give you an interest rate at 6% instead of 8%. So you're happy, you make those payments. But at the end of our term, at the end of, let's call it 12 months or 24 months, you need to be able to do the end loan, which means that you've got to get off the contract for deed and do your current loan. If you do not, I can take the $100,000 that you put down and basically foreclose, for lack of a better word, on the property. And so there's a lot of risk on the buying side. I've always said to buyers, if you are a contract for deed buyer, just rent until you can buy. I firmly believe that. I think it's an ego thing sometimes to say, well, I actually own the home, but in reality, you're really renting it until you buy it. It feels good because you still get the interest right off and you are the homeowner. But it's a risky side on the buying side. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's always been my take on it, Ryan.
Yeah, good stuff. Good discussion here. Again, you're always welcome to join us. 612-294-6949. Talking all things real estate related. Had another text message come in. Are you guys seeing any investors do anything in this market? We are actually seeing some investors buying single family properties, duplexes, fourplexes. Obviously, with a stronger rental market here in the Twin Cities, a lot of people looking to rent. There are people looking to invest in real estate. We actually do a monthly seminar, Mike, a great seminar, all about investment property, how to find the property, how to rent the property out, how do you find tenants, sharing lots of tips. You do a nice job. You've worked with a ton of investors over the years.
Well, the good thing about investment properties, interest rate doesn't matter.
No,
right?
It's all cash.
Yeah. Do the numbers work? you know, so it's like, I don't care if the interest rate's 10%. Can I get enough rents on this property to cover the payment and make the profit I need to make? And if that answer is yes, then great. It's a great investment, you know? So whether interest rates are 3% or 10%, if the numbers work, the numbers work.
That's right. Speaking of that, any investors that are listening, I actually have one that I'm going to be putting on in about a week. It's in Deep Haven, Minnetonka, Deep Haven Schools. It's on a 2-acre lot in a neighborhood that goes up to about 3 million. And the house is probably going to be on the market for about 600 to 650. So it's either a move-in, remodel, and live there, or it's a tear down and you put in a big shack, which obviously a 2-acre lot can handle. But yeah, and it's starting to come back a little bit. Like I said, whatever you believe, if we're still going up a little bit, we probably are. We're definitely flat, and in some cases, depending on your price range, prices have settled back down. So it's a good time to look at that.
Got a nice comment. Susie on social media said, Brad Sanford, my agent, homeowners for life. She says, hi, Brad. The guy is awesome. Goes above and beyond. Very nice, Brad. You're getting some social media love there, my friend.
Hi, Susie. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff with that as well. 612-294-6949. I had another question come in. Guys, any thoughts about a guaranteed offer? Should I be exploring a guaranteed offer more so?
No.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. You shouldn't look at the guaranteed offer. Anyone that, first of all, if you're into a guaranteed offer, there's 4 guys here that'll guarantee your offer. I mean, so it's the reason that people are guaranteeing an offer on your home is not because they're sweethearts. It's not because they want you to make a lot of money. They are looking to profit off of your home. I've run numbers on these things for the last 5 years, and it's anywhere between 20% below value to I've seen as high as 40% below value. So the bottom line is, if somebody is offering to buy your house without it going on the market, without it being offered to everybody out there that would want to buy it, they are making money on you. It is not because they want to make it easy so you don't have open houses and make it easy so you don't have to have showings. That is not why they're doing it. They're making profit on your house. Understand that. And if you want to do it going into that, understand that, but don't talk yourself into the fact that they're actually giving you fair value on your home, because they are not.
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, all they're guaranteeing is that you're going to make 20 to 30% less in your house. I mean,
right.
That's the guarantee you're getting. So, I mean, yeah, they're going to close. Is it going to be quick? Is it going to be easy? It is.
Well, of course it's going to be easy.
Right? But
we'll make it easy peasy.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I can make 20 to 30% by buying your house for
Yes.
that far under value, yeah, I'll make it easy on you, so I win.
Hey, before the break, I wanted to touch on, we got a couple other listings with the Minnesota real estate team on 9232 Yukon Avenue, south in Bloomington. Steve McDonald with the Minnesota real estate team and Remax Advantage Plus has this listed for $630,000. It is a beautiful setting on a Rambler, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3/4 acre, nicely wooded lot. It's got an oversized 3-car garage, additional storage shed, Steve says. Nice separate feeder room, all amenities on one level. And Isaac Johnson is holding that one open today, 1:30 to 3:30. That's 9232 Yukon Avenue in Bloomington. And the last one, Justin Voss. Justin's got a nice one, Mike, in Lakeville, 16345 Jameson Path for $290,000. It is, Justin said, it's got 2 large bedrooms upstairs, a 2-bath, 1 full, 1 half bath, a 2-car garage, gas fireplace, over 1,500 plus finished square feet, very private backyard, and it is close to everything. He said close to 35W, County Road 46. 290,000, not a lot with a 2 in front of it here in the Twin Cities. So check that out, 16345 Jameson Path in Lakeville. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show.
So for those of you that are watching, you can't see Ryan's face, but he's very upset that I was so mean to the guaranteed sale people out there. So I'm sure they're sweet. I'm sure their mother and their grandmothers love them. So I'm not saying they're very bad people. I'm sure people out there, everybody loves somebody.
Guaranteed offer. What do you think,
Guaranteed
Brad?
offer.
You know, it seems obvious that they're taking the risk of selling that house in the future. There's going to be a cost for that, right?
Correct.
Where do they take it? it's got to be in the value of the home. That's all they have to play with. So
Right.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting, Mike. I know you've talked a lot about predictions, in the final stretch here. What are you seeing when people leave the mortgage business? They talked about recently 100,000 realtors have left the industry here in the United States. So a lot of people leaving the industry. What are you hearing on the mortgage side?
Yeah, I think from what I hear, we're probably about 30% probably have left at this point. I don't know what's 100,000 for agents across it percentage wise. Any idea?
It's a lot. It is a lot. I don't know the exact numbers, but basically just because of the uncertainty, market, I think the Twin Cities is down 20% in closing, so 20% less closing. So it's pretty
So
significant.
yeah, and there'll be more leaving too. By the time this turns and things come around. But I mean, we go through the cycle every 10, 12 years or so, right? There's this cycle. It's this cleansing of, it's the market is slower and rougher, and it's less people can stay in it. I mean, it's the name of the game.
well, for us, it's aging agents, because really, how hard is it to be an agent, right? Dealing with wonderful people like you, it isn't really that hard. So
Yeah, you would think too. Are many people getting into insurance?
they're not getting in as much. No, there's a call for agents because the older agents are retiring and they have a book to sell and
Hmm.
that kind of a thing. So yeah,
Same thing with appraisers. I think
Oh God,
appraisers is
that's a dying breed. They
Yeah.
don't make any money anymore. I mean,
No.
they're working 3 times as hard for the same.
Here we go. We're going back live on air. Welcome back to the final segment of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend is going well, everybody, and a happy Veterans Day to everyone as well. Every Saturday, we're here from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. We talk real estate, mortgage. Today, Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. Brad, before we forget, people looking to connect, maybe a first-time home buyer, existing homeowners needing a review of their policy, process on that and best way for people to do that.
they can call me at my office, 651-690-2076. They can see me on the Minnesota Real Estate Show.com page, that kind of a thing. But also, I just want to let everybody know that Farmers received the Gold Award for customer service, for the second year in a row. So
Very nice.
getting me as an agent, and you're getting one of the best customer service carriers in the country.
Yeah.
Wow, very good.
Super important just to have somebody when you think about customer service nowadays. I mean, trying to find an email address for a company, a phone number for a company, it's amazing to me. It seems like the bigger the company gets, the more difficult it is to find a human, to find somebody to talk to, like an email address, just a support one, a phone number. I don't know. It seems like we're losing that touch in today's world.
Well, any business that's based off an app, good luck trying to find anyone to talk to. I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to talk to you. They want it. And what's interesting with me is everybody's gone that route, and we're in an aging United States, especially Minnesota, the graying of Minnesota. I forgot the percentage of people that are over 60, but it's a huge percent. And those people don't like using apps. They want to talk to somebody on the phone. I mean, like if my dad had to use an app he would not do anything. He would have been completely lost.
Yeah, I had a question again come in asking if we recommend a certain property management company. We do. We've got a great partner at mnrealestateshow.com. Scott Fisick and Rental Management Guys is just a wonderful guy, great company. If you're looking for someone to manage any properties you've got, whether you're a solo investor, you got one rental property, whether you got 300 of them, Scott and his team, Mike, I know you've done a lot of work. Scott as well. Just a great guy.
Yeah, I do know Scott. Yeah, they're top of the line. You can't go wrong really plugging in with those guys if you guys have any sort of management needs for rental properties. So highly recommended.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Scott Fisick is brilliant.
In this market, question says, how much more can someone expect to pay to build rather than buy existing? Of course, I'm looking in the highest pressure market. I'm not actively looking right now, but when I was, I just got tired of losing in multiple offers. So new construction, how much more do you pay for new construction versus existing?
I would say I always use about 10 to 15%. I think you're paying about 10 to 15% more for new construction for the same house. The difference is you're paying 10 to 15% more for the structure. That's before landscaping, before a deck, before window treatments, et cetera, et cetera. Those things you get when you're buying existing, you don't get a new construction, but I'd say about 10, 15%.
What do you say, Mike? I know you guys, Luminate, you do a lot with various builders. You, Hudson Murphy, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say Scott's pretty spot on. I would say there, you gain, you pay for it, but you're also gaining stuff too, right? So obviously everything's brand new, right? There's no one else's fingernail clippings in the carpet when you move in.
Mm-hmm.
The energy efficiency of a home today, so if you're looking at
fingernail clippings in the carpet, what's going on there, Mike?
I remember there was a builder that always used that as one of his things.
Yeah.
It's like, this is why new construction is great. You get this and you get that. You get lower taxes for the first couple of years. No one else's fingernail clippings is in the carpet when you move in.
That's true.
So, but you gain that stuff too. Energy efficiency is crazy. You take a house built today versus even a house 25 years ago. Your utility costs are going to be so much less than the house today because insulation, windows, all that stuff is so much more advanced. So there's the give and the take.
Had a good question again. Richard said, are you seeing much with solar in local real estate, Scott? Any clients you can think of buying, selling?
No,
Scott,
no, it's not. I suppose one out of every 200 homes. It's not like you're running into a ton of solar stuff. And solar is, so here's the normal buyer. The normal buyer goes in and says, hey, how old's the furnace? Oh, it's 5 years old. Okay. That's the normal buyer. So, yes, is there a percentage of people that buy a $3 million house and want to find out what the utility costs are? Yes, there's about a 16% of the public that does that. And my dad used to say, if you're buying a $3 million house and you need to know what the furnace cost and AC cost is, you probably shouldn't be buying a $3 million house.
Yeah, it is interesting with solar. I have a friend in the solar industry and asked some questions this week too about solar and commonness of it. And it surprisingly is not very common. Just where people from a buyer perspective, Mike, can you think of anyone?
Not up here, but I've done half of the deals I've done in Arizona. Half of them down there have had solar on it.
Wow.
So up here in Minnesota, it's just not that we don't have that sunlight, to really make it effective, if you will. But you go down to Arizona, you go to Florida and stuff like that. Like I said, 50% of the deals in Arizona I've done have had solar as part of it.
Brad, what do you think?
Make sure you tell your insurance agent that you have solar panels on the roof. Otherwise, they won't be covered.
Yeah, it's a good point. Hey, we're at the conclusion of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Scott, last thoughts for people today on Veterans Day?
I just have one more question for the group on the solar panel thing. So if you have solar panel and it's saving you $150 a month and you're selling a $500,000 house that's the exact same as the house across the street, what does the solar panel give you for value? Zip.
Yeah.
That's what it gives you for value. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't. People don't care.
Yeah. Brad, last thoughts for folks today?
Happy Veterans Day. Farmers will give you up to 8% off your policy for being a veteran.
Awesome. Mike, last thoughts, bud?
You know, if you're in the market to buy a house sometime in the next 12 months, November, December, January, so these 3 months that we're coming up to right now is going to be your best time to buy. So plug in with us. We'll help you run some numbers and figure out what you can afford.
Yeah, appreciate you joining us on the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Really encourage you to hire a real estate agent when you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, invest in real estate. Super important to have representation in this market with a purchase agreement, even if you're buying from your neighbor, even if you're facilitating a deal. We would love to work with you. Again, the Minnesota Real Estate Team. We're all over Minnesota. We're happy to help. 612-294-6949. Hope you have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 a.m. Thanks for joining us on social media. Good job, guys.
Very nice.
Thanks, Ryan.
Nice work, Brad.
You were like a professional. You ended right when you were supposed to. That is amazing.
Scott, are you doing okay over there?
No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
We're gonna have to put
I
you in a
guarantee you there's
corner.
other people out there. This cold has been for like 3 weeks. I cannot get rid of it.
We're gonna put you in a corner.
Golly.
If there was a house with solar panels and one without, I'd buy the one without.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want
the
I don't want
hassle.
solar panels
I don't
on.
want that.
It's like no offense to anybody, but I had a Jehovah Witnesses that came to my door once, and they wanted to come in. I said I'm not interested, and they said, well, don't you want to have eternal life? And I said, well, not if I have to live with a bunch of Jehovah Witnesses.
Scott.
That's the same as having solar panels on my house. I don't want solar panels on my roof. It looks bad.
Solar panels. There's your thought for solar panels. Thank you for joining us. Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans. They are a local bank. Plug in with them. I think they're paying, what is it, 5% on the savings account now?
Yeah, we have a savings paying out 5% guaranteed till April.
Yeah, wonderful company, Luminate Bank here in the Twin Cities. Check them out. Guys, good job. We'll see you next weekend. Thanks again for tuning in to the Minnesota Real